It is very easy for me as a native English speaker to sit here and tell you what I think you should do to speak English fluently. So for this video, I asked some non-native learners of English that have already reached fluency what they did to get there. So these aren't just my suggestions. These are suggestions from ones that have started from the beginning, that have gone through the process, and they are now at the point where they can speak English fluently. So these suggestions are important because we know they work. So as always, welcome back to GSL-English. My name is of course Gideon, and I am here as always to help you speak natural, confident and fluent English. And that's the point that we are focusing on today, speaking fluent English. So in today's lesson, I'm going to share with you some steps that will help you to reach English fluency. Because that is the goal, isn't it? No matter what language we are learning, our end goal is to speak and communicate in that language fluently. But it isn't always easy to get there. Sometimes we hit a wall and we stop progressing, and then we just stay at that level. We don't reach the point of fluency. Well, we're going to change that today. Because as I said, I'm going to share some steps with you that learners of the English language have taken to reach fluency. So we know these steps work and they will work for you. So let's get into it with step 1. And that is to learn within your current level. Don't try and skip levels. This can be very easy to do. I'll give you an example. Now, when I was about 15, I wanted to learn the drums. And I had these extremely difficult songs in mind that I imagined myself playing along to. So I bought a drum kit and I started trying to play those very difficult songs. Did I learn them? No, not a chance. Why? Because I was playing out of my level. And actually, that discouraged me a little bit. But when I went back to the beginning, which was my level at that time, and I went through the process of improving and working through the different levels of drumming, well, I eventually got there. We want to avoid this when we are learning English. It can be so easy to think, I'm going to jump levels because I want to get there quicker. I want to get there sooner. Well, this approach doesn't work. And this was a suggestion that was shared with me, is to learn at your current level. So if you are currently perhaps an intermediate learner or speaker of the English language, then focus on material around that level of vocabulary. If you're practicing listening exercises, practice exercises within that level, and then slowly push yourself. Every now and then challenge yourself a little bit. We want to work our way through the levels of English. We don't want to skip them, because if we do, we miss out on fundamental basics that we find we will need later on. That might be sentence structure, that might be pronunciation, that might just generally be speaking skills. So that was the first step that a non-native fluent speaker of the English language suggested to me, and that is don't skip levels. Learn within your current level. So stop comparing yourself to everyone else. Have a clear understanding of what your level is and focus on material within that level and progressively challenge yourself. Remember, we are all at different stages of this English learning journey, and that's okay. But don't try and skip levels. Okay, the second suggestion, the second step that was given is to make the English language part of your life. And I thought this was a great suggestion. When I was trying to learn Spanish, one of the biggest mistakes I made was that I designated an hour a week to learn Spanish, and then for the rest of the week, I would forget about it. I wouldn't even think about Spanish, so I didn't learn. But once I started to incorporate Spanish into my daily life, then I learnt a little bit more. I am by no means fluent, I'm still a beginner, but my progress increased. So we want to make English part of our daily life. So rather than just sitting down and studying or watching YouTube videos once a week on how to learn English, make it part of your life. Replace ordinary things in your life with things in the English language. Listen to podcasts whilst you are cooking, whilst you are traveling to work. Read English articles. Read English news rather than news in your own language. Whatever it is, but make English a part of your life, not just something you are studying. And when we do this, we'll find that we start to process information in English. And most importantly, we find that we start to think in English. And once you start doing that, fluency comes a lot sooner. So that was the second step. In whatever way you can, absorb yourself in the English language and make it part of your life. Okay, step 3 to reach fluency that was presented to me was to move your mouth. And at first I was like, move your mouth. But then after digging deeper, after asking certain questions, I realized what an amazing suggestion. Because, of course, when we talk about fluency, we are talking about speaking, aren't we? Speaking out loud. Now, whatever your native language is, when you speak out loud, your mouth moves in a certain way. The muscles in your mouth are used to moving in a certain way. It's called muscle memory. Well, we want that muscle memory when it comes to speaking the English language. And this is something we can do no matter what level we are. For example, maybe we are a beginner that at the moment is learning basic vocabulary. Well, read that vocabulary out loud. Just get the muscles moving. But if we are intermediate or more advanced, then we want to get the muscles moving every day by speaking out loud. So it's not just about practicing speaking and pronunciation. It's actually about our muscles and getting them used to moving and doing the things they need to do to speak the English language. So have a conversation with yourself. A great way to do this is by reading out loud an article. Grab an article you enjoy, read it out loud. Or even better, follow along with my exercises on YouTube where we shadow read together. And that is where we speak at the same time. So we're following the same rhythm and the same text. But whatever it is, get your mouth moving in English. And you can do that in any way. But try and do that every day, even if it's just 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Whatever we can do every day will help us to build that muscle memory. And that in turn will help us to progress at a much faster rate because we are able to speak and move our mouth in the way that we need to communicate fluently. So that is step 3. Get your mouth moving in the way that it needs to speak English. And step number 4 really carries on from that, and that is to not neglect repetition. Repetition is a great way of reaching fluency. And by repetition, we mean repeating after someone else. Okay? So perhaps there is a piece of text that is read out loud. You then pause it and then you repeat the same text out loud. I have many exercises like this on my channel, but by doing this, you are not only getting your mouth moving, but you are repeating the correct pronunciation, the correct word stress, the modulation, the rhythm and the flow of speaking the English language. And this is essential. This is really important. We're going to come on to that a little bit in a moment. But don't neglect repetition, no matter what level we are. So again, choose an article that is within your level of English. Engu.com is a brilliant way of doing this because now you can listen to the article being read out loud and then you can repeat after that. So give it a try. I've put the link in the description below, but Engu.com, you can listen to the article. You can then repeat after the audio. You can do it by sentence, by paragraph, but repetition will help you to speak English fluently. And that leads us on to step 5, and that is modulation. And repetition helps us to speak with modulation. Well, what is that? Well, modulation is our voice changing. It goes up, goes down, it gets louder, it gets quieter, it speeds up and it slows down. And that is what helps us to speak English fluently. You know, we are not robots. We don't all speak at the same pace and at the same volume. No, when we speak in our native language, we have emotion. Our hands are flying around. Our voices go up and down. Well, don't be afraid to do that when you're speaking in English. Sometimes we can hold back our personality and our expressions, but if we want to speak English fluently, we need to let our emotion and our personality come out. And we can do that when we are speaking with flow and with rhythm. So again, that ties in with repetition. You know, when you're repeating after someone else, you can repeat their flow and their rhythm. But also, don't be afraid to speak with modulation. That doesn't mean perfection. Actually, fluency doesn't mean perfection. It just means that we are speaking with emotion. You know, we're letting our personalities come out. And when we do that, it allows us to speak with fluency. So that is step 5. Yeah, I think we're on step 5, to speak with modulation. Let your emotions and your personality come through when you are speaking English. The next step is to enjoy the process. Don't take it so seriously. Yeah, just enjoy it. Don't try and rush it. Don't worry so much about making mistakes. Don't worry about perfection. Just enjoy it. If we enjoy something, we are much more likely to continue with it. So, you know, just enjoy learning English. And the reality is, if you are learning English now, that isn't ever going to stop. You know, there isn't a point where we reach fluency and then we stop learning. As a native speaker, I'm always learning about the English language. It doesn't stop. So we might as well enjoy it and find ways to enjoy it. There's no right or wrong way to learn English, really. As long as you are learning and you are improving, that's all that matters. So don't compare yourself to others, or don't just focus on what everyone else is doing. Do your own thing, you know, but enjoy it. Make sure you are progressing and just keep moving forward. You know, we don't want learning English to be such a serious, horrible thing that we don't enjoy, that we're just doing because we have to. No, enjoy it. Embrace making mistakes. It's okay. But, you know, just find ways that you like learning English. If you enjoy reading about cars or learning about new cars like I do, then learn about new cars in English. If you enjoy history, cooking, learn about those things in English, but enjoy it. Find ways to enjoy it, because we're going to be on this road for a long time. So we might as well enjoy the journey. Okay? And that leads us nicely to our final step, and that is to think positively about your English. I thought this was such a lovely recommendation, and this is the one I thought that we would end with. You know, think positively about yourself, and this will help you to reach fluency. If we keep on putting ourselves down and think negatively about our English, comparing it to others, then fluency will be a lot more difficult to achieve. But if we are proud of ourselves, if we think positively of our English, then we are much more likely to seize every opportunity to communicate in that language. And if we think positively about our English, then we're going to let our emotions come out. We're going to express ourselves naturally. And that is what fluency is, when we can express ourselves clearly but naturally. So think positively of your English. Even if you are a beginner, what you are doing is amazing. You are trying to learn a new language. That is fantastic. And if you are intermediate to advanced, then well done. Think positively of what you have achieved to this point. Think positively of the work and the effort that you have put in. And when we create that mindset that, I should be proud of myself, then fluency will follow. But if we don't have that positive mindset, that positive way of thinking, then it can be very difficult to reach fluency because we're always putting ourselves down. We think negatively, and we almost don't think that we are worth fluency. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. So that is the last step, and I really want you to think about that one. Be proud of what you've achieved. Be proud of where you are and think about your English positively. Stop comparing it to everyone else. At this point, I would like to just thank those that gave me the suggestions that we presented in this video. You know who you are, but thank you so much. And as I said, these are great steps to follow because clearly they have worked. These are the most common answers I got when asking non-native English speakers what they did to reach fluency. Now, if you have any more suggestions, let's put them in the comments. Let's create a whole kind of list of different suggestions. Let's help each other out, but create a nice positive atmosphere where we can all learn and discuss the English language together. So thank you so much for watching today, guys. You've got this. Just keep progressing, keep enjoying it, and don't stop. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Have a good one, guys.